Hey,
Hello. Good
how's it
afternoon.
going?
I don't want summer to end. Feels like fall, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Not quite. A little bit. It feels like September to me. I mean, I guess it is almost September, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's where we're at. There you are. Hi, Veronica.
There we go. Hi.
There you are.
Hey.
This technology.
Yeah.
Ooh, so are all the summer vacations over?
So,
Pretty much.
Yeah, I may sneak out one more time, a little bit.
We went up with I went up with Stu and all the kids to Maine for a couple days last week, but um Scott's going to have some surgery in October, so
Oh, I'm sorry.
we're gonna be like having to quarantine some and stuff, so it's gonna be
Even, yeah.
different.
So the grandkids can't come over.
Right.
Oh.
They're not gonna be able to run in and out like they do now for a little while.
I have to say, my older sister has a similar arrangement with her grandchildren who are now, in their late teens, ready for college. And it has been the best thing for everybody. Just fabulous watching those kids grow up with their grandparents and their parents. It's a
Well,
good thing.
I took Lillian back to school shopping on Sunday. It was so much fun. I had three boys, right? So it was
That's right. That's right. You're a good grandma. So we're waiting for Kathy and Melissa. I haven't heard from anybody.
yeah. Thanks, Melissa. Melissa is logging on now.
Not like Kathy to be late.
I don't have her number, or I would text you too.
Well, I don't either. But I remember Veronica, she responded to your email questioning So she knows.
So she knows, right?
Yeah, I hope things are
When she
okay.
sent out the minutes too, she said, see you
Right.
Monday or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. I hate to start until they're here. So you said Melissa's logging on now. Is she? I hope she's not in her car.
Yeah, she did say if she was, but yeah, she said that she was gonna log on in a second.
Okay.
Are you at quorum even without Melissa and Kathy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 3, so we could. But huh, we've got a lot to do.
Hmm.
Give it a few more minutes. It's all right. It's not like either of them. I mean, I can email Kathy again just to say,
You had asked the question about the bylaw, so I had a chance to we had other appointments today, but I had a chance to look a little bit, and there probably are some definitions that aren't exactly like the ones we have in here, so probably is a good thing to look at that.
yeah, and I think we can certainly change. Well, we haven't started the meeting yet, but
No.
certainly worth reviewing. 06 was just a few days ago.
Yeah. Only feels that way.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, the other thing I was trying to find is the old personnel handbook, and I have a feeling that Melissa must have that,
So
just to see if there's anything we're forgetting. Well, maybe I should, why don't I call the meeting to order, and as people come in, they'll come in, because we're already 10 minutes late. And I want to keep us prompt. And I am not at all able to share my screen, but I'm sure there's somebody here who can share the screen, because I have tried that, I swear to God, but it just,
Oh, it's all good. I can do it. I'll just probably shut my camera off because last time I just don't think I could do both. That way I can at least have it up on the screen.
oh, that's right, you don't have two thingies.
Mhm.
And I understand from what Melissa, well, why don't I call the meeting to order? So we'll have it in order. And Haley, would you mind just sort of taking notes a little bit while we're waiting for,
Oh,
for
sure.
Kathy?
Yeah.
And you can do the AI thing. I don't know how to do that either.
Yeah, it's super helpful.
And I'm finding it at my age, it's like, okay, I'm not going to learn that one. I'm not going to bungee jump. I've got limits. So there you go. I might bungee jump. Yeah, and I understand from what Melissa said last time that if we don't make the September 1st deadline, all hell will not break loose, but it would be nice if we
Yes.
could. And it seems unlikely, but we're giving it a best answer, best choice. Okay, maybe if you can start sharing your screen and we can look at where
Sure.
we are.
Oh, before we do that, and I wish that everyone was here, but is there someone who would like to be on the police chief search committee? I need a personnel board representative. Any takers?
Well, who's not here?
Well, Melissa can't because she's the select board person. So
Okay.
we could nominate Kathy. She's not here. That's perfect.
We didn't talk about this
Know
last
what
time.
the timeline is? Do you kind of know what the timeline's going to be? Like, would we
So
be done by October 22nd?
So I ideally would like to get a first meeting of the search committee sometime in September. We have had a few applicants already. And then I would think 1 or 2 meetings a month, and then plus whatever times we schedule interviews for. So I don't think it's gonna be a big time commitment. And then, so currently the committee stands at Mary Jo Johnson as our COA representative, Melissa for the select board representative, me, Chief Ting and Amherst will serve on the committee. And then we are recruiting for 1 to 2 community member, like at large. And so I've got some meetings with folks who were interested in that this week. So it should be a really varied group, which will be nice.
It can be interesting. I mean, I guess I would be, if Kathy can't, I would do it. And
Okay.
then I will
I
definitely
would
get
do it
into.
if I thought it was going to be done by October 22nd. After
And
that,
yeah,
you know,
it sounds like you're about to get slammed.
yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah.
And don't forget your village neighbors if you need help, or just as an aside,
Right, right.
honest to God. Yes. Okay.
So
So
now
you have,
I'll
yes.
take you and I'll turn off my camera to do the
All right.
shared screen.
Get my old, let me rename myself.
You see okay?
Yep.
I'm just gonna get the comment.
See if I've heard from Kathy.
Melissa said technology is not being her friend today.
Yes.
The comments are taking a long time to load. So I'm gonna scroll down.
Okay.
See if it all load up. There were a couple things that we had talked about changing that I went ahead and made changes on. So I highlighted them. And here's Melissa.
I wonder what happened to Kathy. I will have to get her phone number so I could at least text.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. So this is the first change that I made for the full-time employee hours. It doesn't match the bylaw, so
That's right.
you can
Right.
either go back. This seems to be more of like the current best practice to lay it out this way. You know, we are still taking warrant articles through the end of this month. So if there's something that we did want to change, we could do it then at the special town meeting in September. Or we can
mean
revert to
on-
the,
Yeah, you mean on the bylaws?
Mhm.
Because I think that's going to take a longer look at it. But I did notice that the full-time employees and the bylaws are 40 hours a week.
Right.
yeah. And then that doesn't count any meal time, but
Exactly.
so that was one. And then I added another section on for definition on meal breaks, something about overtime. I just made it more clear that even if the work week is 37 and a half, you would still need to work over 40 to be eligible for overtime. Yeah, I think my computer's just doing a lot at once, so that's why it's kind of laggy.
Hi, guys. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late.
Oh, there you are. Good to see. Hello. I was worried about you. You
Uh,
okay?
Yeah, we put our dog down a couple days ago and I don't have a
Oh.
brain.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Kathy.
Still kind of raw.
Yeah. Takes a long time. Oh. Anyway, yes. Hello, Melissa.
Hi.
Glad you made it. You were having technological problems?
Yes, for some reason my computer that's attached to the internet here, like every day decided it didn't want to.
Well, it needed a break.
No, it didn't. It wasn't even on until I wanted it to be on. Haley, you're not at town hall having that issue, are you?
No, I'm at home.
No,
My home
I just
computer
wanted to. I know that
is a
there used to
little,
be some issues in the
yeah.
TA's office with the internet working properly. So
No, we have an older computer at home, so trying to Zoom and share,
understand.
it's working hard. But
Haley,
so
do you
the
want-
thing, one small thing I was gonna. Trying to get down to where we left off. I don't remember where.
Page 20, I think.
Page 20. Okay.
I think, if I remember correctly. But my brain hasn't been functioning
Oh,
today, so.
maybe it's summer brain. I'm blaming the dog and it's maybe just summer brain.
Or both.
Yeah.
It could be
They are
both.
just, our lives are just so busy, you know?
Yeah.
So this was another edit that I made after our last meeting. I think we had just needed it to be clear. Oh, we had wanted to add the option of the witness signature with the receipt
Mm.
notice for any materials placed in the file. So that's why
Mhm.
this was highlighted. Um, so making it more clear, I think it was Anne, you had left a comment about how are we evaluating performance during that time? So it made reference back to the process that will come a little bit later in the handbook.
This looks
I know
great,
this one we
Haley.
had put off. Nice. So yeah, we put off contracts, which we could pick back up now if that's where we want to start.
I think that makes sense.
Okay. The only thing I want to do with the next edit is I just want to move contracts up so that it's closer to the hiring process, but that's not
Great.
like a substantial change.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I understand wanting to streamline it and that technically the contract negotiation team certainly could be made up just of the select board and not have other, maybe not have other people, other departments or committees represented. And I know there's been some challenges recently in our contract negotiations. And I would really like to see the negotiation team be officially a member of the personnel board as well as the finance committee and the select board member. I was doing some research and sort of the general consensus is really pretty open, but wanting different perspectives on the contract negotiation. And I'm also was struck by something that Haley noted is that it's hard. It would be hard to be trying to negotiate with your boss only and having other influences like um, the finance committee coming from the perspective of is this, can we afford this, the contract that's being proposed, or the personnel board looking at it from the perspective of the personnel committee and what we are tuned into. And I guess I want to take, it's and I guess I would like to see that reinstated, that the personnel board, finance committee, and select board be the contract negotiation team with the understanding that the ultimate decision rests with the select board.
So April, just a clarifying question. It sounds like it used to be that way.
It has been that way. The
Oh, it
personnel
has
board,
been.
yeah, that's been the way for many,
Oh,
many years.
Okay.
So I would like to I would like to continue that process.
Got it.
And to be fair, we've had some very challenging negotiations over the last year, with the police chief and with our town administrator. So it's sort of hoping that this kind of teamwork can make it a broader view of the contract for a particular place. And I understand the select board is going forward right now and with the fire chief negotiations, I think, because Lenny's, it's
That
up
actually
this
is
year.
settled. We signed a contract.
All right.
Oh, good.
That's done.
Yeah, we,
And
the
I don't know
select,
if,
the select board did the highway, the current town administrator, and the current and the fire chief renewal.
no, I
last
think
year.
the highway was that committee was with the person, I was on that. There was the
Were you?
highway
Okay.
with personnel and finance committee.
But the
Hmm.
TA was
Uh,
just the select board.
That's correct.
Mhm.
That's correct. And I think it can be beneficial to this process to have other perspectives with the understanding that the ultimate decision is with the select board. But it's been this way for as long as I can remember. And I don't see anything in writing in our policies that say yes or no to this. It's not really mentioned. So I think it's important to have the negotiation committee team composition, written down and approved. But I would hate to have it just be the select board. It doesn't take away their authority as the ultimate hiring, but it does broaden, the perspective on the employees and the particular contract. So I wasn't sure how other people felt about that.
So maybe it can be written that way, but written in such a way that if there are extenuating circumstances or I've not been involved in any of these, but maybe if there's a privacy issue or if there's just some reason why it needs to be just the select board, then maybe
Okay.
it can be written in such a way that leaves that as a possibility. You know what I mean?
Well, can I just ask, why was that struck out? Why was the personnel board member and the finance committee member struck from this document?
So there's been a couple of it's from past experiences. So there's been a couple of contracts, 3 contracts that so Walter's contract, the last contract he had, which was a 3-year with an option of a 4th year, that negotiation fell through with the negotiation team, and the select board took that over and got to a contract. It was a pretty bumpy process.
Well, that one ended up in a town meeting.
That one ended up, yes. So that ended up in a listening session for the public to express their support of Walter. There was multiple facets there, but the committee of the personnel board, the select board member, and the finance committee member, and there may have been one other. I don't. It was quite a few years ago. That one fell through. They couldn't reach a negotiation. It was a stalemate or they couldn't come to an agreement. So the select board ended up taking that one over. With Becky Torres's TA contract, the select board decided at the start to be the 3. We had met prior in an executive session and had discussed what each member was thinking of, and that as we decided, would it be one member in a conversation, the 3 select board members decided it would be the 3 of us and decided to go forward with that. We had talked to town council about that to make sure we could, and we were assured we could. With the police chief, it was also a negotiation that started with a negotiation team, and then the select board were not happy with the terms and decided to continue the negotiation directly with the chief. So those were the ones, but there were ones that have worked in that realm as far as the committee. There's also ones that have worked very smoothly with just the select board negotiating directly.
So just to be
I
fair,
know
that
this select board has stated many times that they prefer to be the ones to negotiate or establish a designee if they decide that that's the way that they think that that position should be negotiated. The teachers are always negotiated with a team of
Yeah.
um so
and the police department if the policemen they have their own union, so
It
that
is,
is
the
separate.
union contract has been negotiated successfully each 3 years with a team of people. One from each one of those: the town administrator, FinCom, personnel board, this union steward, the union rep, as the team negotiating that. It is a much longer contract. It is 34 pages long, I think.
So, I understand what you're saying, Melissa. I also think that in some ways that if how do I say this? If there had been other perspectives, I think it might have ended differently, perhaps. I'm not sure. But I would hate to have it formalized that there is not a standard negotiating committee with the ultimate decision resting again with the select board. That doesn't change that, but with different perspectives. The fire chief a number of years ago, that became quite public, and the advocacy of the, of the fire department and all the members of the fire department.
And the public too.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
So when you talk about different perspectives, like, can you elaborate a little bit more about that? Because I don't know if I quite know what you mean.
Well, it's like as it's written here, actually, this does state it, that the select board certainly has, they have their policy perspective, absolutely, and what they're looking for in the town, and that's very important. But also that the personnel board would bring more in line with, the best practices and the bringing that different perspective, and the finance committee bringing the perspective of the financial piece. It's like, I mean, it is stated here. It's hard to read it underneath, but and I think it would be a loss to the town to take that away. The select board certainly is entitled on any given, that they can override, absolutely. But I think it would be a mistake not to have this process still in place for the town. It's worked well. Sometimes it has not worked well, but I think it's worked well more times than not.
Do we have a sense of what other department heads feel?
No, I don't. Actually, that's a good question.
Well, I think, April, to just elaborate on what you were saying, I mean, some of the work that the personnel committee did was to look at comparable salaries, right?
That's right.
In the area. So that's a perspective. So I think the way that you described it, April, was really helpful. Like what is the role or the expertise of that committee, and then what could they add to the discussion? So I understand the impetus to try to want to ask department heads what they think, but that can get tricky because they could think like, well, the select board really likes me, so I'm fine just dealing with them. I think that if we think about it in terms of what's the contribution the representative can make based on the charge or the mission of that committee, it's really helpful. And April, I think you laid that out, that, the personnel board and the finance committee representatives could bring a perspective that may or may not be represented by the select board, but they bring a perspective that is their priority by virtue of that assignment.
I also think that to take it out means it's gone, but to leave it in means we still have that process available to us. And I think we'd be losing something if we removed it entirely.
And
So
another thing to look at is, so the people that are now on the select board, it has worked well for, to negotiate. But that changes, like those people change too. And so it might not work so well for another group of people. So,
Good point.
so not having a backup plan probably isn't good.
So I think so as from sitting in on successful and non-successful ones in both places, I think that there should be the option if there is an inclusion, and I know the current select board was really clear when we started this handbook that they wanted to be the ones to negotiate contracts directly with the employee and maybe bring in a FinCom person or a personnel board person. But I think the full select board, if they choose to sit in on the committee, should be able to sit in on it with the two others if if they choose to. Because I think, and unfortunately I can't give out a lot of information, but I think that there was reason and it was reasonable cause for the select board to take over a couple of contracts this year that were to negotiate solely with the individuals. They were in executive session, so I can't speak to why that this was the case, but I think that there was reasonable reasons for that to happen.
But I also think Veronica raises a really good point. You know, not the select boards are fluid in a way, as are all of these committees. But and nothing is challenging the select board as the ultimate signer of the contract. That's absolutely, you know, they are the ones who sign the contract. But I think to take out of the process, you know, just to remove it, not have it be an option or you know, I think it's a mistake for the town that we're losing these different perspectives. And I don't think it's a good precedent necessary for the future.
Could I offer my 2 cents?
Yes, of course you can.
Thank
25
you.
cents would be fine.
25? All right.
Okay.
I'll give you an IOU. I like Veronica's point. I think you could make that for personnel or for finance. You know, people change all the time. But what I think might be a good compromise is that, you know, you have it go through the select board, but have the employee have the option to have those supports if they need it. You know, for me, I would feel really comfortable, and I don't know that I would like if I had to have, you know, extra representatives at the table with me, you know, because part of that is that the select board is the one who understands the person's performance, where FinCom is not going to necessarily know that, and perhaps even to some extent the personnel board may not. But I think if someone wants that kind of support, why don't we let our employees take advantage of that? You know, if you want to have somebody in the room to maybe offer that different perspective or help you advocate in a different way, you know, I guess I don't see an issue with someone having it, but for me, I think if you think about it, I don't know. I guess I would just say for me, I would prefer it to be that one way, but I think other people might want the option to have personnel board and finance committee reps. And if that's the way they want to negotiate, why not open the door for that?
Was the rationale for removing the two to streamline the process, or, you know, what went into the decision to remove those?
Well, from my perspective, I think it had to do streamlining, or I guess in my own case, that was just the way I was used to doing things, and so when that was the avenue we went with, I didn't really think twice about it. The ones that I've been a part of, I think that there have been significant portions of the conversation that talk about expectations and when someone is or is not meeting them. And that is a factor that is really limited in terms of the amount of people that you can tell that information to. Like Melissa said, this is happening in executive, and, you know, employees have rights under Massachusetts state law. But I hear what people are saying, where, you know, we want to be supportive for our employees, and I think that's really good. You know, actually and I thought a lot about your comments, and I actually fleshed out more of the benefit section. Like I went through and did a lot more research, because there's not a whole lot we can offer. So if this is something that, people feel good about, why not have that be in our benefits package? If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe if we just leave the two in, but say the team composition consists of the following members, and then in parentheses, including a personnel board member and a FinCom member where appropriate or where requested, or something like that, so that it's an option, but it's not a requirement.
Can I just play devil's advocate for a minute? It's
for
really
it.
hard to have this conversation without knowing the specifics. And Melissa, I totally understand. So
Right.
please know I'm
It's
not
hard.
asking,
It
I'm
is hard.
not asking you to have loose lips, but
No,
it's
I
like
don't-
really hard to understand what's at stake when you don't know why the committee was made narrow. But Haley, in response to you, just to play devil's advocate, you're making an assumption that like the FinCom and personnel board member would come on and be by default in support of the employee, right? The FinCom person could say like, I don't think this is in the budget to negotiate this contract. So I think that idea of like putting in there, well, you can choose to have it if you want an advocate. I don't think we should make the assumption that anybody's going to be an advocate or not an advocate, right?
Yeah. But there's also the assumption that the select board representative has access to confidential information, that isn't sharing it, but can certainly, indicate that there may be issues, in a very broad way. So the select board is still represented, and the select board still has the final choice. I mean, that's not a question, but I think the process has worked for the most part over the last years in how we hire people. And I think it would also put an employee in a funny position to say, well, can I have these people be my advocate, like you were saying, Anne, and they're not necessarily.
Could
They may not necessarily be.
could it read a little bit of both? That the negotiation team may consist of town administrator, select board member, personnel, or FinCom. Wait a second.
And that leaves it loose enough.
May consist of at the discretion of the select board, because that's where we have the select board has been the ones that have decided to take over those negotiations directly. There may be a need for the select board to take over if there is a personnel issue, or if there is an issue that they feel is not something the other members could, or I don't want to say should, I'm lacking of a better word in that case, but there is something that pushes it to be the appointing authority doing the negotiation instead of a broader committee.
Well, and that's kind of how it stands now. I mean, the select board chose.
But that's not how it's written here.
That's correct. That is correct.
Right.
And I guess I still believe that having it be a broader negotiating committee with representation, the select board, if there are personnel issues, can certainly indicate that, because the committee can meet in an executive session as well, but not discussing exact, personnel issues. But I think to wipe this out, I think it's a mistake for the town. That having an inclusive process, I think is important. And
April.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
Are you like, what if the select board met with the personnel board and the finance committee ahead of it? Like, are you envisioning being in the room with the person negotiating, or like doing a meeting before that first like contract negotiating meeting where maybe the select board has said, hey, this person's police chief's contract is up. Can you do a comparison study of salaries in the area so that we have that information going into the negotiation? Or are you wanting to be at every meeting along the way?
Well, I think the negotiating team, you know, the personnel board does tend to come in and say, we've done this review. This is in line with the rest of the county. And the finance committee says, WTF, we can't afford that. And then that's there. And that's not being discussed in front of the employee. But I think that it having a representative from each board or committee, the 3 boards, 2 boards and 1 committee. I think it's a process that should be maintained, and again, not taking away the ultimate authority, that if whatever the contract is that is developed, if the select board can certainly throw it away if that's not what they want. But I think it gives a more fair opportunity to negotiate fair contracts with more people at the table. Just 3 people at the table. And the town administrator has a very important role in this, making sure it goes forward.
So here's a question. If you have the negotiating committee get to an agreement with the employee, how do you make the employee understand the select board could throw it out and start over?
Well, that's understood that ultimately the select board signs the contract. This is the recommendation from the committee. The committee doesn't sign the contract. And that can certainly be stated in the introduction. That this is not the final negotiation. This is the negotiation. We're going to come up with a contract, and the select board ultimately has to approve it. And having a member of the select board on that committee is incredibly important. Though there can be conversations, between, well, it would have to be executive session, wouldn't it? Yes,
it would have to.
Yeah, it would, but that, it doesn't stop that communication. But I think it protects the process in an important way.
I have to say, from an HR perspective, that does worry me, because even if you tell someone, it could get, off the table or changed. Say you have a really productive session and things are going really well, and then that employee is feeling like, okay, I got this in the bag. And then they go to the next meeting, and maybe the select board says, okay, we're gonna offer you this because, X reason, if it's performance based, if it's financial. And then they might feel like they've got the wool pulled out from under them. I guess that's the part that concerns me the most.
But also another part of the process can be to if the select board has big disagreements about the contract, is to go back to the negotiating committee and say, could you renegotiate? These are our concerns. And I think there are times when that should have been done, that wasn't done. But I think that is an important safeguard. And again, the makeup of the select board, the makeup of each of these committees is somewhat fluid.
I would say too, Haley, I really appreciate your concern. I was thinking about that as well, but I mean, just to use an example I'm very familiar with, like in academia, we can have a faculty committee that recommends someone for tenure, and the faculty committee can be unanimous in forwarding that to the dean, and the dean can reject it. So I don't think that idea that a committee would forward a recommendation that is then not approved is, not kind of the way the process works in other industries. And it also, maybe the language here could be very clear that this is the negotiating committee, and then, as April said, like the final decision is with the select board, and that some of this is around communication, right, and transparency. So when the employee starts the negotiation, they understand exactly the process that happens, and the potential outcomes.
For tenure, are they are you also evaluating performance, and how much does the tenure affect their take-home pay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And it's a
I'm thinking of
position.
any kind of promotion like that, right? If you had
Mhm.
a committee and then they would forward it to whoever is up above and that person doesn't necessarily agree.
So I guess just as a thought experiment, because I did minor in philosophy by like, I was like a good thought experiment. So let's say we're doing a contract negotiation for the town administrator, right? And I'm meeting with all of you. What if I say, well, I'd like to go back to school, and I'd like to get the town support. If the goal is to get different perspectives, what if someone, like, say, the finance committee, they say, well, we're not gonna support you doing that. You're gonna be working, how are you gonna work the same amount of hours and give us the same attention if you're splitting your time doing something else? So that's not necessarily a perspective that enhances my position contract. And
But is
so
that
there's
likely to
that
be a
part.
FinCom perspective?
But
Though,
that's
Haley?
but I guess what I mean is, like, how much weight does that have? And then if I go to my employer, and so now we've got maybe two scenarios, right? Like, I have a great performance record and they say yes, and the negotiating committee, they basically get outweighed, right? Because enough people thought, hey, we're not going to support you in this venture. But the select board overturns that. Are there hard feelings on either side? Do I walk away feeling like, wow, the finance committee really doesn't have my back at all as an employee? They're not, like, helping me in this environment. Or if my performance is bad enough, but nobody else knows on the negotiating committee, and then it goes before the select board and they say, well, no, we're not going to do that because you've been lagging behind in all these responsibilities. Couldn't someone on the negotiating committee then feel like, well, hey, like, we've supported her and we want to advocate for her. Why are they saying no when they can't tell you why they're saying no? Because that's my private personnel
Right.
file.
But I think the safeguard in it is that the select board has representation, so that it's not a secret committee. If there are issues, then they can be, they're there at the table, not necessarily discussed in detail, but, there could be an indication that, maybe, suggestions could nudge the negotiation in a different direction.
So would it only be
se.
one select board rep, or
Mhm.
would you have the entire? Because
No.
then I would think, and it's just interesting to bounce ideas around, but, like, what if it was a select board member who I didn't see eye to eye with? Maybe I don't want them on my, who gets to pick who is the member? Is it the select board because they have the authority? Is it me as the staff? It's my contract. Who's picking which representatives?
Usually
Each board and committee.
would, in the
Yeah.
past, would choose the member to sit on the
Okay.
committee. Yeah. Um, Going back to what Haley said, so say a select board member is in a meeting with a negotiation team, and they can't share the specific performance issues because of personnel, um,
Right.
and that person says, hey, there's some performance issues, so we have to keep that in mind when we negotiate the contract. But because they're not able to share what those are, the other two, maybe the FinCom member or the personnel board member, isn't convinced because they don't work directly with that person.
I think there's lots and lots of what ifs
Well,
in this, but
I'm just,
Hmm.
how much weight would a select board member say, hey, to the team, because this wouldn't be with the employee in the room? We've got some personnel issues we need to worry about, so the negotiation has to be done with that in mind.
Mhm.
But they can't be shared, so um, the weight of that statement, if the other board members or other team members are like, well, you is it? Would it?
I don't even know if you would
I don't even know if you would say that.
legally be able to say that.
Mm.
I
Right.
Do we have an idea what Donna thinks about the composition of the negotiating team? Has
She
she ever
likes
weighed in on it?
She has a couple of times. She likes it with the select board.
Oh, okay.
But there's no legal reason not to keep this going. I mean, no system is perfect. I mean, and certainly things that a select board member knows that the other committee members don't know. Some things can't be shared, but if the select board is not feeling comfortable about renegotiating a contract with this person at all, I mean, that's one scenario. Or I think there are ways of letting this, the finance committee member representative can certainly say, well, this is our budget. We cannot go over this. This is the bottom line. And the personnel board can also bring in, but this is what Franklin County is paying. I mean, so there's always this tension. And the select board may be not enthusiastic about renegotiating a contract with somebody. I mean, all of that is possible. But once you have the committee meeting, having those different perspectives, I think, are very important. And to just take it away and say this doesn't exist anymore, I think puts us at risk for making a mistake for the future. It's a system that for the most part has worked well over the years, and it's been a little bumpy recently. But I think it's important to keep it going. So where are we with this? Do people want to vote, table, change? I mean, where are people standing?
Well, I wonder if I like the idea of including personnel board member and a finance committee member, but I'm wondering if, because we have a new town administrator with a lot of experience, a very different town administrator than we had been used to maybe in the last few years. Maybe we table it for a bit and see how the next few negotiations go. This thing isn't going to be cast in stone. We can modify it as time goes on, right?
Yes, it's in there's amendment process.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Kathy, when you say table it and see how the next few negotiations go, what process would those negotiations follow?
I would leave the, 3 and 4 out and not have a personnel board member or a finance committee member involved. And then, have the team just be Haley and the select board. And see how the negotiation goes, see how employees are feeling with the process, give it a shot and see. With the understanding that if we start hearing from people, employees or managers or anybody regarding the process, if we start hearing that it's not fair or it seems secretive or whatever the feeling is that we get communicated back to us, then we revisit it.
Well, I have a couple responses to that. Like if an employee is let go, I'm not sure they're going to come and let us know that the process wasn't fair and then there would be anything that could happen to that. But I thought you were going to say something different, Kathy, which is to table it isn't to change it, right? But I thought you were going to say, could we table it and have Haley go and do some research to see what surrounding towns do? Because Haley, I mean, I hate to put more work on you, but that would be helpful.
It would be helpful.
Yeah. And I don't like the idea of tabling it and going ahead with the process as it is, because I think, getting that feedback loop, there's not a certain way for that to happen. If, as Anne said, if somebody is fired or quits or, we're not going to hear.
Well, Well, with a contract, you have to let someone know 30 days before the contract ends that you're not
Right.
going to renew. So
Right.
that the select board would make a decision on. That wouldn't include the personnel board or the finance committee.
Absolutely. That would be, if the select board had an employee they did not want to recontract with.
Renegotiate, right? We would let them know,
Absolutely.
right? Or whatever the contract says. I think it's 30 days, but
Yeah.
whatever the contract says or whatever contract law says.
So that provides some level of safeguard for the select board.
And the employee too.
Oh, yeah. there's-
Likewise, in the new contract that we've been using on several, well, since for a full year now, does also have the employee let us know that they want to continue to be employed by us, and so they need to let us know by a certain time that they'd like to go through contract negotiation.
Mhm.
All right, I heard my homework. Do some research.
Well, yeah, actually, should we vote that? Make that formal, do I hear a motion that we want to give Haley more work?
I'll make a
Well-
motion. We give let Haley allow some
right.
time for this section of the personnel
And-
book for
But
Haley.
I think but I think we should be specific in that look at, comparable towns to Shutesbury. Not that there's anything comparable, but if there was,
And
you
maybe
know,
check in with Donna too and get her feedback.
Okay,
yeah.
I can do some research.
Thanks, Haley.
No problem. Shall I scroll down?
We're not
So you
done?
can see what other work is going to come your way.
Oh yeah, let me get the full list of homework before we end for the night.
Okay, that's good.
Um,
Ba-da-ba-da.
These all still contracts. Ex interviews. So we do them now. I don't know if you ever did, but we did one for our town clerk, and that was very informative. And so I made one change per our last meeting. Again, it talks about the 37.5 hours, but it also specifies public business hours for the town hall so that folks know when to expect someone on an average basis to be
That's
in town
great.
hall.
That's
And
right.
then,
That'll be helpful for residents. I really appreciate it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
payroll and timekeeping. I think we had gone over these pages. This is all pretty straightforward. Biweekly pay deductions, Equal Pay Act. So this one we should probably talk about because I did make some updates and there are some specifications in your bylaw that may we need to adjust things to. Anyone have any questions on A through E?
Is there a Mass General Law citation for family leave or no?
I
I'm
think
sure I
that's,
can get one.
where's that federal? Is that a federal? I'm not,
I
yeah.
should know that.
It may be.
FMLA, I think it's federal.
I think it
Yeah,
is.
It is
Okay.
federal.
Yeah, we just
It
maybe
is.
want to cite it
Federal.
somewhere.
Okay.
Federal policy.
Now to go back to
Yeah.
those posters that all employers have,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
put up. And Haley, that reminds me, you might want to look at ours.
Yeah,
Make sure
get
some
some
hallway
state ones.
is adequate.
Okay.
Forgive my ignorance, but what is terminal leave?
Um,
Hang on, I used to know what
Good
that meant.
question.
can be a couple different.
I'm gonna Google it real quick.
Okay.
I've just never
Alright.
heard of it, so, but we never had unions, so it might be something specific to
Refers
unions.
also to military leave
Yep.
before the end of your service.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Um,
That all looks good. This is all good.
We had domestic violence in here, right? We have
Yeah.
have domestic. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the highlighted ones are the ones that I put in more recently. I borrowed this personnel leave language, I think from Amherst.
Yeah, we have a slightly different personal and sick leave policy, but I can forward those to you. Hang on, I can look them
Okay.
up real quick. Give me a second. I have it in my folder somewhere. One moment. Town. And
Haley, hold on. Is sorry, I didn't have a chance to relook at this today. Is there something in here about, oh yeah, so okay, so vacation you can carry over, but can you, so personal leave, can you just explain to me the how you're categorizing personal leave and vacation?
So
Because
I have always understood personal leave to be, if you had something come up at the last minute and you need to go to the doctor or you need to take care of anything. I've always just understood it as that's your leave. You get those days to do,
bank mortgage
the,
closing, those sort of
yeah, exactly. You got to run to the post office before you get to work. Like those kind of things that you couldn't use sick time, couldn't use vacation for. Um,
hang on, I'm bringing it up now. I'm just gonna look. Let's see
Mhm.
what page is on 6. Hold on, I gotta scroll to 6 because it's not tabbed in any way. Whoops. Hiring period, compensation, hours of work, overtime, flexible. Give me a second. Personnel records, exit, grievance, reprimand, probation, suspension. We're getting there. All right, so we have bereavement leave of anyone working more than 20 hours. This is in our current
Okay.
one. They get 3
Scroll
days
down
of
to here.
bereavement leave for
Mhm.
an immediate family member, and 1 day granted for other special long-term relationship. Um,
Okay.
okay. And,
So
I'm sorry, I don't want to go too fast.
I was gonna say looking at other towns, I did 3 days for the death of a close family member or loved
Yeah.
one. I don't know, this one's always to me like you should get your 3 days. Kind of grief hits everybody differently.
Mm.
But one thing I can also do is come up with a list of where this varies from the old handbook,
Yep.
so that if we want to do warrant articles, we know which ones we would need to
Oh, you mean to
go
add
with.
it to the, yeah. And then 1 day for any other special long-term. Select board may grant at their discretion special bereavement leaves, it says in the handbook. And then it goes on for holiday.
Holiday. Oh no, I'm just scrolling.
Yeah, we don't currently have a voting leave option, so that may be bringing us up to date on that.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, and so the holiday leave is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll just read them. It's New Year's, Martin Luther King, President's Day, Patriots Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and we voted Juneteenth a few years ago.
Okay,
So what
that's good.
And one question is for,
Mhm.
you know, for say Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, are, is there a way we can have, or for other religions actually, or
Mhm.
other 1 day
Like
or
a floating holiday or
a floating holiday? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would add another holiday to what we've got for everybody.
Yes.
just gave us 3 floating holidays.
So I can definitely put that in. I also added, to benefit my staff and I, day after Thanksgiving, because that tends to be one that people take off anyway. And
Mm.
most
Mhm.
places that I've ever worked has just kind of been bundled in together.
I don't.
So could we add as much as 3
Mhm.
floating holidays?
Yes, we'll make a note and then I'll type it and send it out. I'll send.
I can send you, Haley, how my company worded it to see if it's
Okay, I can do that. And what were the other ones up here? So we talked about these. I did one for jury duty and court appearances.
We have jury leave in the old one, so it's
Cool.
it's a very short paragraph. It says regularly served jury duty shall be paid for their full pay by the town for the first 3 days of jury duty service. After that 3 days, the town will compensate for the difference between the daily compensation of jury from court
Mhm.
to the employee's regular rate.
Okay.
Wow. That's a
That's very generous.
That's a good policy. My
It
company
is.
only did 3 days and then I was on my own.
And in B, there's a typo there on the first line, trial on the end
Oh,
of that
yeah.
line.
I wonder why that
Wow. Anne didn't
flag.
get that.
I know.
She was gonna get
Sorry.
that next.
didn't.
And I wanted to ask you guys a question. Have you ever thought about, with regard to vacation and personal leave, and I forget what the other paid time off was up in that section. Have you ever thought about putting it all in a bucket of paid time off, regardless of the reason? Would that be easier for record keeping purposes? To just,
Well, the only
Or-
issue with that is that we can pay out unaccrued vacation time, but we can't pay out unaccrued or accrued sick time that was not used. So if it was all in the
on
bucket,
termination, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I mean, if you worded that it that way in the policy, would
Mm,
it make it easier to manage that way? I don't know. That's just what I'm used to, and
I can check
it
with
simplified
Ryan,
things. Yeah,
see what's
something to
easier
think
for the
about.
treasurer.
Okay.
There was something else too up there about this was we have an absence without pay one as well, and a military.
Yeah.
Do you have military?
Yep, so we have
Very was
Yeah.
the very beginning.
The military, the old one is not well. It's not as it's not alphabetized or anything like that. So it says pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 33, Section 59, regular employees who are called for temporary military service shall be entitled to a leave of absence up to 17 days annually. The employee must present his or her department head with a copy of their military order.
I can look up the citation and put that in there, but
Yeah,
we
I
do
can give it
have
to you again
that.
if you want.
Also,
I
under
can give it to you again.
FMLA, that
Mhm.
employee is allowed to use their sick time, any accrued sick time through that, as I understand, an FMLA. I mean, when I had my hip replaced, I took all my sick time.
Okay.
And
But
then
there,
the FMLA.
yeah, under FMLA.
Is
I'll
there
flesh that out a little
also,
more.
oh, sorry, April. Is there a standard policy where your vacation time increases with years of service?
Get there. Yes.
It's actually in the bylaw, the personnel bylaw. has that. Whatever it is. I don't
yes,
have that handy.
unless you're under a police contract or teacher's contract. Those two have, I think, different vacation accruals.
Yep.
Wait, so sorry. So is it here? Did I miss it here?
We haven't gotten down that far yet.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. I do have the personal leave up. You had said 3 days.
Okay.
So this says, well, I'll just read it because it's again very short. Regular employees working 20 hours or more shall be entitled to 2 paid prorated personal days per year. Requests for the use of personal days shall be authorized in advance by the supervisor. Part-time employees who work at least 20 hours per week are eligible to prorated leave consistent with the regular hours worked each year.
Okay, I think what's stated here is a little more comprehensive.
It may be, yeah. I just want to make sure it's in line.
Yeah. No, I think that's, so we were saying 3, or were we saying 3 personal days?
Yeah,
And I
that
think the old was 2,
don't forget this wasn't updated since 2000.
Well,
1991, I think.
It was created then.
well,
And then there is a sick leave also. I'll just pick the days out. So if you work 20 hours or more, you're entitled to 15 paid sick days per year, part-time or prorated, for the number of hours they work.
Cool. I think that one's legally out of date.
Yeah, and then
But I have to check.
employees may accumulate a total of 90 sick days, with part-time receiving 90 sick days proportionate to the hours they work. Employees may take partial days with permission of the supervisor. Upon termination, employees will not be paid for unused sick time.
Okay.
And it says
What I can,
emergency sick bank too. I don't have a lot of basis in that. I know it was used during COVID.
That's right, where people could voluntarily contribute their sick time towards a bank that another employee could
pull from.
draw from. That's probably more complicated to administer, but it's a really nice thought, an idea, I think.
we had
we
it.
could put that under benefit. I think would make a good fit.
A sick bank.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is just, I'm gonna go through this and compare it to the bylaw. And then I will find where it doesn't match. And then I hope that maybe early September, we can have just a meeting on that. So that we get everything, if we need to change anything, we get it on the warrant in time for end of September.
Haley, do you have a copy of the current book?
I don't know if I have a copy of the current book, but I can get the bylaws off the website.
In case
Yeah,
that are in here that aren't on the bylaw, I'll send it to you. So I scanned it all.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay, cool.
Unfortunately, it was very old copy. And not old copy, but it was a. It looks like it may have been done possibly on a typewriter. Some of it.
Well, they were doing a lot of amendments on this bylaw there at the beginning. They started in 95 and through 2006, they made, 8 amendments, and then it hasn't been touched since.
right.
We also have, do you have small necessities leave?
Yeah, I have that.
Alright.
Through that.
Wait, before we go off sick time,
Yep.
sorry, Haley, I'm like toggling back and forth between. Could you look at D?
Yes.
So it says, this is like a math problem. It says that you can carry over up to 40 hours of unused sick time, but you can never use more than 40 hours of earned sick time in any calendar year. So why am I carrying it over then?
Yeah, maybe
That may
I
not
have to go back and look
Case-
at what that
Okay.
reference, because maybe I missed a word. And that
Well, that's in
changed the whole
case you haven't
meaning.
accrued enough in the beginning of a year and you need it.
the old
Maybe.
True.
So Kathy, explain that to me. Sorry, I'm just can't wrap my head around this.
So, you earn, how does it go? You earn an hour of sick time for every 30 hours worked. But so say you've accrued 40 hours of unused sick time by the end of a calendar year, then you get into the next year and I assume you're accruing this in a calendar year. Yeah, in a calendar year. And then in January, something catastrophic happens, you get really sick and you need to use time, but you haven't accrued any yet for that calendar year. You've got that bank that you carried over to use.
Well, then
But then
how
you're
did,
done for the year. If you use the 40 hours that you've carried over, you're done for the year
Right.
because you can only use that
yeah, so you
amount,
can't
right?
use more
Hey,
than,
But she's saying if you have accrued those 40 hours and carried them over for 3 years and then you get really sick, you can't use more than 40?
that's what it sounds like, Veronica. Haley, can you scroll down just a little bit? The last part of it's cut off.
Take here.
Yeah.
Do you have a short-term and long-term disability plan that would kick in after sick time was exhausted?
Would.
But Kathy, sorry, maybe it's a wording thing that you're helping get to, because it says you can carry over 40 hours of unused sick time. But however, you can't use more than 40 hours of earned sick time in any single calendar year. So if I carry over my 40 hours and then I use it, then I can't use anything more.
Yeah.
You
So
can't,
why am I carrying it over? Is it new earned sick time?
you're carrying it over because say the first week of the new calendar year, you've earned 1 hour of sick time only, but you get sick or you get in a car accident or whatever happens, you've got the 40 hours that you brought over from the previous year.
Okay. Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kathy.
And then once
You
you've
might-
used all of that time, I'm thinking you've got a short-term disability plan that would kick in if you had to continue to be out of work, or a long-term disability if it were more catastrophic.
So I think Ann, and I think you guys are on the right thing. So you hold on to 40 hours because you earn it in 1 year, you use it the next while you're earning the next set. So
Yeah.
you're always bringing it going forward.
Sorry,
Right.
we can
Um,
we can use from we can pre-use from our bank.
okay.
So
Uh,
that's my
The
job. So
current
that's what I was
policy book does say you can keep up to 90 days, which would be a short-term policy, right?
Yeah.
Under that 90 days is like 3 months.
And why are we putting a limit on, it's not paid out at the end of of employment, but why are we putting a limit on
So that you
the
don't have
amount you
someone
can
who
have?
accumulates a half a year or more or a full year of sick time and then starts to take it. That's why you
But-
limit it.
But then
Well,
we don't
that's
have anything.
Massachusetts law, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
You can cap it if you want. So the examples that I looked at capped it because, like Melissa's saying, I remember this from Amherst. The person who was in charge of the bulk mailing at the post office had accrued so much sick leave that he was out for like a year, but they couldn't hire anybody because he was still technically an employee. So those are that's why people put caps in, but 40 hours might be, I mean, again, I'll do 90 days from the bylaw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just got to go in and jive the bylaw with this.
40 hours is only a week. If you're
Right.
if you're like even have surgery or something, you're gonna need more than a week.
So in
Yeah.
my past employment, either at Amherst College and where I currently am, the accumulation of sick time up to at Amherst College, it was 120 days. That is your short-term sick time, and
Right.
then you have there is a short-term policy that kicks in or a long-term policy kicks in depending on what the situation is.
Do we have that in place? The long and short term sick time? Do we have that?
Long and short-term disability, I believe.
Yeah.
You do.
And how is that funded? Or how much does that keep an employee paid?
I think it's partially out of
And certain
your
percentage.
insurance plans, typically,
Yeah.
whatever you,
Oh, okay, of course,
I think it's
that
an
makes sense.
elective, actually. Is it possible it's an elective thing?
Ours was,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
where I worked.
And I think where I worked, there was no cap. But you couldn't take it with you.
So I'll give
Mhm.
you I'll give you an example of why they cap it now at the University of Massachusetts. So, a family member, first year was just 50% of his sick time that he had accrued for 30 years.
Hmm.
That's before he touched vacation time that was owed to him. Even the university caps it now. But
It
there
sounds like
on
a 90 hours is more realistic than 40 hours in a given calendar
Yeah.
year.
yeah. So I'll go in and make that work everywhere.
Okay,
Myself a little note. Um, let's see. So, given that I need to do a little bit more up to date with the bylaw, can I recommend that we go past the leave? Because I'll end up changing some of this anyway.
So can you just give me a hint of the vacation leave again on the document?
Mhm.
Because we have a table that we have. Um, so there is a table. I'll send this piece to you. It's in 10 days in the first year, and then at 20 years, it's 30 days of vacation. And each year
Okay.
you add a day to the number of vacation days, just so as a rundown.
Okay.
But I'll send this to you. I think it's in the bylaw. It's slightly different. It was adjusted in the police union contract, and I think it was
Mhm.
adjusted in the teacher's contract too. But I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
Just for you.
Okay.
but yeah, let me look. I think it is in a copy of the bylaw.
It is in the bylaw, yeah.
Where was it?
In fact, I'm going to send this to you while I'm talking about it, so I don't forget later.
Oh, there.
Would you all like a copy of the old one too, since I'm sending it?
Yes, that would be great.
April. Yeah.
Ah. So the bylaw right now says on an annual basis, the select board may decide to grant extra time around Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. So that we're
Okay.
doing an end run around that, I think.
Mhm.
And this is not the handbook, this is the bylaw.
Okay.
And on page 10 of the bylaw, yeah, you start with 5 days, 1 to 6 months, 10 days at the year, 11 days. So it's a day a year up until 20 years. And at that point, you get 30 days.
Well, actually, between 2 and 3, they add 2 days. Isn't that weird?
Hmm. It is a little
That may
funky.
have been just to catch it up, maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm.
Hmm. Don't worry about my handwriting. That 2022 was my handwriting on the cover of the book I'm sending
Okay.
you. The last time it
Oh,
was 2012.
in a few years. So have you emailed that out to us?
I'm doing it now.
Okay. Oh, I can hear you.
Yeah. Given my technology issues trying to get onto the meeting, it may take a couple minutes to go into cyberspace and land in your inboxes.
True.
It's a, yeah.
Oops.
So right now, the vacation leave in the bylaw, it's from, you get 5 days after 6 months, 10 days after a year, and then your accrues at a rate of 1 day a year. Is that right? Wait a minute. That is what it said. Oops.
Taking a second to attach it. Hold on.
No, it's 2 days. It's weird because between 2 and 3 years, it's 2 days. 3 and 4 years, it's a day. Huh. It seems like not enough vacation.
No, it doesn't seem like there's an incentive to stay a long time if you then get docked a day.
Yeah.
I can look at that too and just see if there's some other.
Yeah. What are other towns doing?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Haley, if you added up all the, like Kathy was referring to it, paid time off,
Mhm.
how many days is it total? Say for an employee in their first year. It's 2 weeks vacation,
15 sick days.
15,
Based on what
Mm.
the prior thing.
that's 3 weeks. Yeah,
And then 2 personal days
yeah,
and 13 holidays.
yeah. I'm with everyone else on the vacation time.
Yeah. Because the bylaw says you get 10 days after your first year, and then 11 days to your second year, for some reason, 13 days at year 3. I don't know where. I'm not sure who did the math.
Do we have, I'm sorry, I'm gonna need to hop very soon.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know we're trying to keep these meetings an hour and a half, and if we need to push it to 2 hours, sometimes that can happen.
Do you want me to show you the benefits section before you go? Because that
Yes.
one I did do
Yeah.
a lot of work on. So
Yeah.
because like again, I know I
Okay.
have to clean that up a little. This would be scrolling down past like some of the workplace expectations and stuff.
That's all new.
Yeah, that'll have to be a different meeting, but for benefits. So I thankfully, thanks to Ryan, I got a little blurb about what we offer, and so it can be a little bit more clear to employees. And then I had also reached out to our insurance company, and they offer this like wellness initiative program. So it talks a little, she actually wrote it. She was very nice. She wrote this whole thing for me. So it talks about the different programs that are available through our insurance provider. This obviously we'll have to, talk a little bit more about, but I think it's always worthwhile to have that.
Mhm.
Put in something more clearly about professional development. And I agree that I think there does, excuse me, need to be more perspective. So I am suggesting that the personnel board, that you hold meetings, listening sessions with employees. You can do once a year if you want to do more, to get people's feedback about this, about working in the town, and then maybe also if there are a couple of you who want to do something about like celebrations. A lot of places will do like a company picnic once a year, annual holiday parties, or how do we recognize years of service for people? So
we may want to
like
think
that.
about a recognition program.
Haley, I love that so much. Thank you for adding those.
Thanks.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I
thank
like
you
it
for
too.
pointing that out.
Yeah. Yeah, and what we've done for years is have an all boards meeting that's sponsored by the select board, but this is a little more specific
Yeah.
to just the personnel board, so it could be a smaller event.
I love the listening sessions. That's such a good idea, Haley.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
think
do
you
have
need that
long-
time with people.
You do have longevity bonuses in there, correct?
You know what? I'll double check that later.
I know you have a spreadsheet in some of your files that was made up.
Yeah.
About who gets them when.
Mhm.
That, yeah. Just a note to make sure we have that in there.
Okay. So we will not get this complete by September 1st, but we will get it.
That was a lofty goal.
That was a lofty goal. But I think we've gotten a lot done. And, you know, in the contract negotiation, that process, I think it really does need a bit more thinking and having more perspectives. I think it'll be very, very helpful. I also don't want to forget over the next weeks that we really do need to look at the land use clerk job description that
Mhm.
Nathan had asked us to do. And I would love it if all the current job descriptions could be uploaded, even if it's a PDF, just so that they're online. And they should be online for everybody. You know, they're not a secret.
No, they're
Um, that was a couple of things, but next time we do need to spend some time looking at the land use clerk, because it sounds like there's some sense of urgency there.
Mm-hmm.
Haley, thank you for all of your work and for
Oh, yes.
Pleasure. Thank you all for being so thoughtful in your comments and in your opinions.
Yeah, it's a good group. So, speaking of which, when shall we do this again? And I'm looking at. I'm so bad at. Let me see. I mean, we could. It's a lot, but we might want to look at meeting Thursday the 4th and Thursday the 18th. Get 2 meetings in next month. Would that feel like too much?
I'm going to be out of town from the 2nd to the 18th.
Good for you.
All right.
Yeah.
Hopefully good for you.
Yeah. We're going to
Yeah.
Ireland.
Oh,
Finally.
nice.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
That'll be wicked fun.
I can't
Yes.
wait. Gonna
All
find my
right.
grandmother's birthplace, hopefully.
Oh,
That's
Wow.
great.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah.
So you can Zoom. It's a 6-hour time difference.
Yeah.
But I think that would be fine.
Oh, sure.
True
Okay.
committee chair. Love it.
Well, when I was on the select board, we had Elaine Puleo Zooming from Norway once. It's like, I'm so sorry we did that to her.
We Zoomed, Joe and I Zoomed at 2 a.m. from Amsterdam on a Concom meeting. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh,
we did
Wow.
that.
You are going to heaven.
wow.
yeah, exactly.
Or hell, I don't know which.
Okay, so does it make sense for us to meet on the 4th of September? I'm adding an extra meeting to
think
the
so.
month. The
Yeah,
4th at 5:30? And then
think I
the
can-
18th at 5:30. And then hopefully we can just go back to the 3rd Thursday of the month. God willing.
I can definitely do the 4th. The 18th, I have a doctor's appointment, so I might be a little late, but
Okay,
Does that
That's
mean,
not a
will
problem.
we have a quorum if we don't have Kathy and Ann?
Yep.
We have.
Yep.
do, Melissa?
we got 3.
I just want
Yeah.
to check, just checking out loud.
No, you should, that's good. And Kathy, I am so sorry about your dog. I had lost
Thank
mine not
you.
that long ago, and it's
It's
unbelievably
the
difficult.
worst thing.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
She was an old gal, but she was my baby still.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know. All right, so do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Oops.
All right, roll call vote by alphabetical order, last names. So this is a test.
Does Haley vote?
No.
No,
Mm-mm.
okay. I was
No.
looking at her like, okay, bring it mine.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye. I'm never number two.
Richter, I.
Salvador, I.
And Stein, I. Great.
We pass.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
You
everyone.
guys rock. Okay, take good
Good
care.
job, well done.
Yes.
Yes.
See ya.